morning, Viewpoint. And my gosh, we got a heat wave going on in here, especially in the studio. We're crowded this morning. Good morning, Mrs. Busby. Where have you been for 2 weeks?
I've been holed up washing carpets because he didn't want to go out and play, you know.
Well,
It was nasty. But I understand that one of our guests got to moonlight.
So that's correct.
The Lincoln City police officers, the chief himself and 2 others got a chance to plow snow because the city had plenty to go around and could share with you. I think that's nice.
Yeah, well, we became aware that the street and alley department were short of a few personnel, and we knew that there was a big storm coming, and so we started looking into finding some substitutes, and myself and a couple of my guys have commercial driver's licenses, and so we volunteered to help out. So it was a very interesting experience.
Good. Yeah.
Well, that leads right into our kudos this morning.
Yes, it do. It do.
Go right ahead with that.
All the people that are out there, the poor mailman plowing through this snow up to their knees, and you guys who can't say wait until it warms up a little when they call you, any of the 3 of you, and all these people who have to be out, paper boys.
Mm-hmm.
Paper boys, under cover of dark. Yeah, the utility people. On and on and on it goes. Everybody except me has special duties. So I want to thank all of you.
Well,
I wondered why you weren't out scooping your snow.
I did.
You're not a good citizen.
But I waited for yesterday.
You know, you'd think, as young as she is, as vibrant as she is, she'd be out scooping her own snow. But anyway, it's been a kind of a character builder the last couple of days. Kind of remind me of, quote, the good old days. That'd be spelled with a Z-E instead of a Y-S. When we used to go down to the depot about 4:30 in the morning and get the pantograph off of the train, then go inside the depot and fold our papers and take off into the zero weather to deliver the pantograph. I forgot how much fun I was having. Why? Let's make a formal introduction of our guests this morning and then just get right on into the swing of things.
Yes. Well, we're going to talk about this being the new year. We've not been here for so long. I hope people remember. My name is Judy, and the power on my left is Bill. All the big days fell on Wednesdays. Yeah. So today we're going to talk about Lincoln in 2014 and what these department heads and the big head of the big department
I don't know
Keith
that
Snyder.
It that way. I think that's bad phraseology, the big head.
What do you think about 24? No, he's very special.
Yeah, we know that.
And his mother's nice and his wife's nice.
Say it the way you wrote it down, will you?
At any rate, we're going to hear from Chief Miller of the Fire Department. We're going to hear from Chief Greenslate of the Police Department and Chief Snyder of the city. And
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us, Mayor.
Sure, thanks. It's great to be here.
Yes, you brought your 2 very important department heads with us. That was a good idea, Mr. Mayor. Boy, a little difficult last year. The big problem we all face here, the mayor and the department heads, the age-old story of budgets and how we're going to make this thing work. I think we do a remarkable job given the resources which are available to them. By the way, I might mention, Judith, that we could perhaps ask people to call in if they have any questions or comments. 648-5510. With this caveat, you got to be nice. We'll shut you off if you're not nice. No, seriously, some people have some genuine concerns. Some people have some comments. Certainly welcome to with constructive criticisms, as I say. 648-5510. Mark, with reference to the fire department, what would you say would be your biggest problem?
Fires, probably.
Fires, yes. Oasis.
You bet.
No kidding.
You know, I think, we think fire's of a big thing. We don't have a lot of fires. We have enough to keep us in the news and things like that. Mm-hmm. Our busiest department, I think, within our agency is our fire inspection department. And probably one of our biggest problems is getting compliance with a lot of issues. It's hard to get out to every business and every commercial building in town and look for just those general safety things and keep people safe as they're in the buildings and working. Fires are a terrible thing. The loss of life due to those is the ultimate. And one of my biggest goals is to try to keep my inspectors up on top with some of the codes and to try to get them out and work with the community. We don't want to shut anybody down, but make their business safer. And in that may help prevent fires. That's one of the biggest things. So.
Having had a house fire, I can attest to the fact that it's not a pretty sight.
No.
And I dare say the Lincoln Fire Department certainly was fast and was good and tried as hard as they could to save whatever they could. But it's just a nasty business. This business of being a fire inspector, now we've all seen on television something about how they go in there and they say, aha, this is somebody sprinkled gas in here or something. Well, it's probably not quite that simple, is it?
Oh, no.
Not so much.
When you're investigating fire, it's just like a police detective. You have to get the pieces of the puzzle. There's never a sign that says, "Yep, this is how it started."
Yeah.
And with fire, there's so much destruction. You have to be able to have good, solid evidence. And it's very difficult. And there are so many other ways for a fire to be an accident that you have to rule those out.
You kind of think of firemen as just keeping their boots on and ready to go in case the bell goes off. However, you've got all this inspection that those who are involved in that angle have to learn. And also, how many of them are EMTs, paramedics, what have you? Because I know when we'd have the ambulance come to our house right along when Buzz was here. And the fire department always came too. I just don't understand really that relationship, how it evolved or what it entails. But you've got people who obviously know what they're doing.
Yep. All of our 19 members, myself included, are trained in emergency medical services, from paramedics down to emergency medical basic people. Our requirement minimum is an EMT basic. And today, compared to 24 years ago when I started, EMT basics, we can do life-giving medications. We deal with a lot of diabetics. We deal with a lot of lift assist, and a lot of times the ambulances just aren't available. Our ambulance service here in town covers the entire county.
They do a remarkable job at that.
Yeah, they do a great job, and we have a great working relationship with Steve and all his crews. And Steve will tell you, if it wasn't for the firemen, even the policemen that have AEDs in their cars and equipment.
Have what in their cars, sir?
The automatic external defibrillators.
Oh, yes.
There's times where we're the people out on the street beating the ambulance there and doing those initial life-saving things. And
there was an article I read the other day about these machines, and our church has one, and schools have one, and so forth. However, it's just kind of got cut short there a little bit somehow. We dropped the ball because it seems that people have them in facilities, but they forgot that somebody has to work them.
Oh, yeah. The nice thing about the AEDs, they come with pictograms that tell you how to put them on the person, and they're automatic. Once you realize someone's having a heart attack, you call 911, you put these patches on the person, and it won't work unless they're in cardiac arrest.
However, wouldn't it be more efficient to study the pictogram before somebody is lying there?
You bet. I agree. And places that have them, we're working on a grant right now just to put one up in City Hall for the council meetings on Mondays and Tuesdays, and
that'd be a good place.
Just the public coming in every day.
Taxpayers.
That's it. And we want to make sure that the staff there know how they work. In the years that I've been with the fire department, Unfortunately, we've had to work on employees there at City Hall that were in cardiac arrest. And having an AED right there in the building, to me, is super important. So,
Oh, you bet.
Now, Mr. Chief, I want you to tell me how you'd handle this scenario. If a lady has a fire in her house, rather imposing house, and the fire department come, and she wants them to take off their boots before they come in.
we'll
That's a true story, Mark.
yeah, I've
It
been
wasn't me.
It wasn't Judy. I remember going into
Make
Judy's
that
house, though.
Perfectly clear.
The lady has long since deceased. She is our neighbor.
Yeah, unfortunately, work's got to be done, and we do attempt to put down runners if we have to protect carpet, and we'll put down tarps and things to do it. But yeah, we've had a few occasions where, can you leave your boots at the door? And sorry, we got to keep trucking. So.
Well, people, by the way, speaking of boots, should put theirs on and go out and shovel around their fire plug if they live on a corner where there is a
I'll tell you
fire
what,
plug.
that would be great. Usually in the snow emergencies, we'll ask people to do that if it gets real high around the hydrants. One, it can freeze them if they have any bit of a leak. But
Oh, that'd be
if we
swell.
can't see them, it makes it hard for us, or it'll delay us getting extra water to the emergency.
Right.
Yeah.
Oof.
Chief Greenslate, you are embarking on the year 2014, and you have your plans laid out. You have budgets and so forth to prepare. What is the one thing that would be the most concern to you, Ken? Is there one particular item, as far as law enforcement is concerned, that such as a drug problem in the county and so forth, or in the city in your case, or
I
juvenile problems, or what? Is there one particular thing that's of real concern to you, sir?
No, it's not one particular thing, because a lot of things are related. The drugs, the juveniles, the property crimes, all these things are connected. They're all tied in, and you have to address all of them. We can say that the drugs lead to the property crimes, and the property crimes lead to more serious crimes, and you have to start addressing it with the children, the juveniles. I spent quite a few years working as a juvenile sergeant, and to me that was a very important part of law enforcement, is to try to redirect juveniles who might be going down the wrong road.
Yeah.
And if you catch them while they're younger and help them learn from their mistakes, then that's the best prevention of all.
DARE would
Correct.
address that effort, right?
Correct.
And you still have that going strong?
Yes, it's not, the program's not as large as I'd like it to be, as it used to be. Manpower issues have forced us to cut back. We don't have a full-time DARE officer anymore. That's what I used to do. Before me, it was Daryl Sisk. And we would teach 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, and 9th grade. And just like you didn't take math, 1 year and that was it. You took it all the years you went to school. I feel that DARE needs to be that way too. Right now, we're currently down to where we just do the 6th grade program.
Is that soon enough, Ken?
Well, it's better to start earlier, but at the same time, you don't want to go too late. I think 6th grade, it's very interesting, because if you've taught in the classroom or been around kids, you see those different progressions at different ages, and that 5th grade, 6th grade age is while they still have, I don't know how to describe it, except the innocence of youth, or the, childlike, but
Like
at the same...
respect, maybe?
Sure. Okay, but they actually believe what you tell them instead of disbelieve automatically.
Yeah.
Because when they hit 12 and 13, they don't believe anything you say, kind of a situation.
I'm sure
But
that's right.
yeah, that's very important. Continue to work on the drug problem, and we're involved with drug court. It's something that the probation department began 3 years ago. So there's city, there's county law enforcement, there's probation, there's the public defender's office, the state's attorney's office, and even the judicial branch, a judge, who all sit on this court. And it's like a super double secret type of probation where each of these people who have these addictions get individualized attention and planning and treatment. And the idea is that we can keep arresting these people for their problems and the offenses that they commit to support those drug problems, or we can try and fix them and get them out of that loop, out of that circle, that cycle. And that has been a very interesting process too, because once you're involved in it, you realize how strong for some people that addiction is, at trying to break that cycle of addiction, committing crimes to support the addiction, going to jail, coming back out, falling back into the addiction, committing crimes, and going back to jail. And so you got to break that cycle.
How is it working for you? Are you seeing successes?
We see successes and we have seen some failures.
Sure.
And
Oh, I'm sure of that.
yeah, the thing of it is about addiction, having been a part of this, you just realize that
That's cat
these
teeth.
people have to learn how to, get control over their addictions, and you'd realize that it's obviously, even though they know they're facing prison, these people know they're facing prison if they go out and use drugs again. They still can't stop themselves from what they do sometimes. So
Yeah,
we got to try and
addiction
break
thing,
those.
Unless you are addicted to something, well, you're addicted to me and all that, but you can't help that. No, seriously. Unless you have an addiction, you can't really understand the battles that those people face, whether it's alcohol or drugs or whatever. You have to, normally a guy on the street says, well, let him straighten out. It's easier said than done in a lot of places. I suspect that Mr. and Mrs. Citizen, the average citizen on the street, would be surprised at how much investigative undercover work is going on day in and day out. Would that be a correct statement to say, Chief?
That would be correct. We're part of the Central Illinois Enforcement Group. We have a full-time member his full-time assignment is dedicated to finding out who the people who are the dealers. We actually have a good idea of about quite a few of them, who they are.
Yeah.
But actually getting enough evidence to prosecute these people it's a long and difficult process. Everybody has their rights, their constitutional rights, so we can't just kick down their doors and go in there and say, hand over the...
Yeah, and sometimes that's too bad.
Yeah, it is. But that's the way...
Well, I think it's really important that we protect people's rights.
Yeah.
To me, that is important. And if a few bad guys are continuing to do things that they shouldn't do, well, it's our job to keep working on catching them. But I would never want to see where we would take it to the point where, well, let's put people's civil liberties aside and do whatever it takes to catch a bad guy, because then we would become the bad guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So.
I see.
Some jails get overcrowded for whatever reason. And are you at liberty to comment on how you handle that, like shipping some people off to McLean County or DeWitt County? Or is there a lot of that going on, Chief?
Well, the jail is actually, in Illinois, the jails are usually operated by the county sheriff.
Uh-huh.
All right?
Yeah.
The sheriff, Steve Nichols, he's responsible for all of the jail and all of its operations, and I really don't have any knowledge or expertise about that to speak to it, so.
Are there enough treatment facilities, particularly like residential treatment facilities for people who are addicted to whatever it happens to be they're addicted to? Because I agree totally with you in that you have to get rid of that since that's the source of the problems. And surely if you could get rid of that, you'd cut down a little bit on the rest.
It's not just drug treatment facilities, but mental illness facilities and treatment programs. We all know that governments have dealt with shrinking budgets and shrinking staffing, and from the federal to the state to the local, and we all remember Lincoln Developmental Center being closed. we constantly, the police department is spending more and more time dealing with people who do have mental health issues that there's no beds for them. The number of beds, I don't have the exact number, but it's shockingly low how many places that where you can actually place somebody for short-term or for long-term care with mental illnesses. And so if you go to places where you see more homeless people and other people with disturbing behavior, there's the reason why they're out there is there's no place for us to take them.
Yeah, that's a serious socioeconomic problem, certainly for all of us. Let's shift to His Honor the Mayor here for just a minute. We pass the baton to him. Mr. Mayor, if budget wasn't the constraining thing, what would be the one thing that you would wish for our community here as far as what would work best for you and your plans for the city and so forth, money notwithstanding?
Well,
it's a terrible caveat there.
That's right. That's right. I think probably it would be, excuse me, that we would have the dollars to put towards our downtown development and towards economic development efforts. We've spent a lot of time over the last year and a half, 2 years, doing plans for downtown, and we're now at a point where we're going to implement some of those plans. We've got, in 2014, actually, we're going to be doing a block of the streetscape effort that's been planned. We're going to be doing that on Pulaski Street between McLean and Kickapoo. They're kind of the arcade block, if you will.
Yes, that would be very nice.
Now, that's not, when you do it a block at a time, it's a little more expensive. You can get it a little cheaper if you do larger blocks there. So, I mean, I think the revitalization of our downtown is very critical for our community, and I think that would be something that we'd like to see addressed. We're going to address it with the dollars that we have available, but I think that's kind of a key foundational effort. We also have things that don't get a lot of attention but that still need to be addressed. In 2014, we're going to undertake a long-term control plan for our sewer system. And, you know, that's certainly not flashy or exciting, but it's something that has to be done by U.S. EPA mandate by 2015. So we have to look at our combined sewer system. We have 31 miles of combined sewer systems.
Combined?
Yeah, under the ground. And that's where the storm sewer, so runoff from the streets, runs down into the same system that
Merge
collects
with the sanitary.
The sanitary sewer, yeah. And what happens is that then flows to the sewer treatment plant, and if the plant is overwhelmed with the amount of stuff coming to the plant, then it gets diverted and it goes into the creek and then eventually back into the ecosystem,
not the best way to do it,
which
but
is
that's
not
the way.
good. Yeah. So we have to come up with a plan to control that, and it has to be a long-term plan. We have to have it in place, and we've entered into an agreement with Crawford, Murphy and Tilley, an engineering firm, to come up with that plan, and it's going to be expensive. That we're going to part of the plan will be coming up with the most efficient, most effective way to address that long term. But that's something else that we have to do, and that's going to take a lot of money. But it has to be addressed. And
Speaking of money and plans, we have it planned here that to get some of the money to go on and put these programs on, we have sponsors to have to recognize. So at this point in time, we'll take a shutdown for just about 30 seconds or so and let Mr. Ash do his mechanical thing here.